When the world says no, Black women build empires, the radical truth about healing, hustle, and self determination. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred pause where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I want to share something with you that might sound impossible at first. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Lisa Blade, a visionary who has spent her life creating pathways for women to step into their power, their purpose, and their peace. Lisa Blade is not just changing lives, she's rewriting the narrative about what's possible when Black women choose themselves first. She's building bridges where systems built walls. She's creating blueprints for freedom where others only saw dead ends. And what she shared with me, what the data is screaming at us right now, is this. In the middle of one of the most brutal job markets Black women have ever faced, something extraordinary is happening. Something that defies every headline, every statistic, every story we've been told about scarcity and struggle. Let me paint the picture for you. Right now in 2025, Black women are being pushed out of the workforce at alarming rates. 35,000 jobs gone. Black women's unemployment sitting at 7.1%. Nearly 600,000 Black women sidelined from traditional employment since early this year. The labor force participation rate for Black women has dropped, with 75,000 exiting entirely. The so called exit economy is real, and it's hitting Black women hardest. We're earning 66 cents on the dollar compared to white men. Venture capital funding for Black women founders, 0.3%, 1% if you're Black or Latinx. The doors are closing, the glass ceilings are reinforced, the systems are failing us again. And yet, and yet, Black women are starting businesses at a rate that is shattering every expectation. Women are launching 49% of all new businesses in the United States in 2024. That's double the rate from before the pandemic. Black owned employer businesses have grown 56.9% from 2017 to 2022, outpacing every other racial group in America. Let me say that again. While the job market is collapsing beneath our feet, Black women are building empires on top of the rubble. This is not a story about victimhood. This is a story about self determination. This is a story about women who looked at a system that rejected them and said, fine, I'll build my own. This is about turning barriers into fuel, exclusion into innovation, and survival mode into something sacred. Lisa Blade helped me see this clearly. She said something that stopped me in my tracks. She said, you can't outsource your worth to a job, to a paycheck, to someone else's approval. Healing, she told me, is your responsibility. And when you heal, when you truly love yourself, when you give yourself grace, that's when you stop waiting for permission and start building your legacy. You can't blame people for not making you feel secure within yourself. Sometimes we love others hoping that love will heal what's broken inside of us, but healing is our responsibility. Lisa Blade understands this truth in her bones. She understands that the foundation of entrepreneurial success isn't a business plan, it's self love, it's grace, it's the willingness to look in the mirror and say, I am enough, even when the world says I'm not. Let me tell you about Latoya Elder. Latoya is a Black woman tech entrepreneur her, who co founded a diversity focused initiative in the US tech sector. She faced what so many of us face, an industry that didn't see her, didn't fund her, didn't believe in her, limited venture capital, persistent underrepresentation. The same 0.3% funding gap that keeps Black women locked out of the rooms where decisions are made. The tech industry looked at her and said, you don't belong here. But Latoya didn't wait for the industry to change. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't wait for validation. She built pipelines. She created mentorship programs. She developed skill building networks specifically for Black women in tech. And today, her work has increased representation across major tech firms. She pioneered diversity programs that are now being adopted industry wide. She turned exclusion into access. She turned her pain into a platform. And she's part of that 49% of women starting new businesses, proving that when the doors closed, we build our own entrance. Latoya's story isn't just about tech. It's about what happens when a Black woman decides that her worth isn't determined by who funds her, who hires her, or who believes in her. It's about what happens when she decides to believe in herself first. Now let's zoom out because this isn't just about one woman. This is a movement. Black women entrepreneurs across the United States are navigating what economists are calling the exit economy. 297,000 jobs lost since February 2025. Unemployment rates climbing past 7.5%. 75,000 Black women exiting the labor force entirely. And in the face of all that, Black women are shifting to high growth self employment. They're focusing on sectors like healthcare, social assistance, innovative tech. They're not just surviving, they're thriving. They're driving national business ownership records. Black owned employer firms up 56.9%. They're achieving parity in innovative startups in key markets. They're boosting GDP potential. They're modeling economic independence for entire communities facing policy driven job losses. Think about that for a moment. While the traditional economy is saying no, Black women are creating their own economy. While venture capitalists are saying you're not worth the investment, Black women are investing in themselves. While employers are saying we don't need you, Black women are saying, Mom, I don't need you either. And here's what Lisa Blade emphasized to me: this isn't happening because Black women are superhuman. It's happening because Black women are finally choosing to heal. They're finally saying, yeah, I will not wait for a system that was never designed for me to validate my worth. They're finally embracing the truth that softness, that self love, that grace is not a luxury, it's the foundation. Let me take you global for a moment because this story isn't just American. According to the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, data from 2024 and 2025, Black women entrepreneurs are doubling startup rates in countries like Jordan and Morocco. In the US, female startup activity is at 10.4%. Women are matching or exceeding men in innovative ventures in 18 out of 51 countries tracked. Startup trends are moving upward in 19 countries, and this is happening despite caregiving tensions, despite being 47% more likely to close businesses for family responsibilities, despite unemployment spikes, despite every structural barrier you can name. From the early 2000s, when rates were just 6.1%, Black women have evolved. They've overcome barriers through community, through innovation, through sheer will. They've achieved parity in market innovations. They've claimed 49% of new US businesses. They've advanced global entrepreneurship equity, and they're doing it while healing, while learning to say no, while setting boundaries, while resting without apology. Lisa Blade told me something I'll never forget. She said, healing is not a detour from success. Healing is the path to success. You cannot build an empire on a foundation of self rejection. You cannot create wealth while believing you're unworthy. You cannot lead others if you haven't learned to lead yourself with love. And that's the counterintuitive truth at the heart of this entire conversation. We've been taught that more opportunity equals more success. We've been taught that if we just work harder, hustle longer, prove ourselves louder, the doors will open. But what if the real opportunity isn't out there? What if it's in here? What if the greatest business decision you'll ever make is to heal the parts of yourself that still believe you need permission to exist, to thrive, to build? Because here's what the data is telling us. Here's what Lisa Blade's work is proving. Here's what Latoya Elder and hundreds of thousands of Black women entrepreneurs are demonstrating every single day. When you stop outsourcing your worth, when you stop waiting for a system to save you, when you embrace inner healing as the foundation for entrepreneurial success, you become unstoppable. The job market collapsed, and Black women built businesses, venture capital dried up, and Black women built networks. And the economy said no. And Black women said, watch me. This is not about ignoring the pain. This is not about pretending systemic racism doesn't exist. This is not about toxic positivity or pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. This is about something far more radical. This is about recognizing that the same resilience that got you through trauma, through poverty, through invisibility, that same resilience can be redirected not toward survival, toward creation, not toward proving your worth, toward building your legacy. Lisa Blade shared with me that the women she works with, the women who are thriving right now, they all have one thing in common. They stopped blaming themselves, they stopped blaming others. They gave themselves grace. They embraced the truth that everybody isn't meant to like them, and that's okay. As long as God loves them, as long as they love themselves, they are enough. And when you operate from that place of enoughness, when you operate from that place of healed wholeness, you don't wait for opportunity, you create it. You don't ask for a seat at the table. You build your own table. You don't hustle for validation. You rest in your value. So here's my question for you. In a job market that's sidelining Black women, in an economy that's designed to exclude us, in a world that profits from our exhaustion, what if your greatest healing came not from waiting for security outside, but from building your empire within? What if the 56.9% growth in Black owned businesses isn't just a statistic? What if it's an invitation? What if the 49% of new businesses started by women isn't just a trend? What if it's a revolution? What if the 0.3% venture capital funding isn't a ceiling? What if it's proof that we don't need their money to build our dreams? Lisa Blade is creating pathways. Latoya Elder is building pipelines. Hundreds of thousands of Black women are launching businesses, innovating solutions, achieving parity, and rewriting the rules. And they're doing it not because the world finally gave them permission. They're doing it because they gave themselves permission. Here's what I know to be true: healing is happening, and you get to choose you, not out of burnout, out of reverence, not because you have to, because you deserve to, not because the world is fair, because your life is precious. The job market may have closed its doors, but you, sis, you have the keys to build your own. The system may have said no, but you have the power to say yes to yourself. The world may have told you to wait your turn, but your turn is now. So I'm asking you today, what one bold business step will you take to claim the belonging you've always deserved? Will you finally launch that idea you've been sitting on? Will you invest in that course, that coach, that community? Will you say no to the job that's draining you and yes to the vision that's calling you? Will you stop waiting for perfect conditions and start building in imperfect ones? Because the truth is that the world doesn't need you to be perfect. The world needs you to be free. The world needs you to be healed. The world needs you to be soft. The world needs you to build the empire that only you can build. And when you do, when you step into your soft girl era, when you release the cape, redefine strength, embrace softness, heal in real time, protect your peace, and turn your survival into something sacred. You won't just change your life, you'll change the trajectory of every Black woman watching you. You'll change the economic landscape of your community. You'll change the narrative about what's possible when Black women choose themselves first. The data is clear, the path is proven, the invitation is here. Now, the only question left is, right, will you accept it? Will you choose healing over hustle? Will you choose self love over self sacrifice? Will you choose to build your empire starting today? Because Black women, yeah, we are not waiting anymore. We are not asking anymore. We are building, we are healing, we are thriving, and we are unstoppable.